This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace. Hello, good morning, and welcome back to Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we're your hosts. I'm Alexis.
I'm Grace.
And I wanted to get through that quick intro before I tangented off about how it's a new year. Same us, though, all of that. I was getting ready to say it right after good morning, and I was like, wait, no, we have to say our names first.
Oh,
where
honestly,
are we?
Great.
We've forgotten that perhaps in the past, but yeah.
Absolutely nailed it.
Thank you. I've been, Grace knows from right before we hit record, I've been nervous about clapping us in today.
We forgot how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know where I am, what year it is, but no, it is now the year 2025, and we're back for another year of Saturday Morning Mystery cartoon crime reviews. Yes. And we're excited to be back and excited to see y'all.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to, if folks are just discovering us in 2025, do you want to give them a...
Go for it. Do you want to?
I'm going to talk this whole episode. You talk now.
Damn. All right.
I'm saving my vocal cords.
Fair. Grace is being more dramatic in the year 2025.
Yeah, that's my resolution. Make things worse for other people.
Exactly. Make things harder for everyone else around her.
But me.
But her. So yes, that's a very good point, though, because we noticed that we actually did get quite a few new followers while we were away in the month of January. So welcome. And if you are new, we are a goofy but sometimes serious, maybe podcast, mostly goofy, where we talk about classic episodes of cartoons and animated shows that have to do with crime, adventures, mysteries, things like that. And we retell the episodes of those shows as if they are true-ish crime stories. And we intertwine in there some actual real-life true crime stories or kind of horror stories about things that are based on or tangent to somehow the cartoons we're talking about, which is kind of scarily more often than
it happens
some
in my
people might
episode
want to admit. It's going to happen in mine next week too, quite a few. So we're going to get off on a strong foot recapping some of these classic cartoons and the things that they pulled from in history to entertain us youth throughout the years. So yeah.
Great.
Welcome
Great job.
to those who are new. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And
that was our elevator speech for Saturday Morning Mysteries. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, but we're going to hit the emergency stop button on the elevator. You're not getting off. You're here with us now for this whole episode. You can never leave. We also, we do arcs. So we do 8 episodes of a show. We go back and forth telling the story. And then once the holiday seasons hit, which starts in October, we just do holiday arcs for the last 3 months of the year. But up until then, yes, we will do 8 episodes total for each show that we do. Unless we decide to change it. There's no rules here. We just kind of... do we want?
Yeah.
So
it's the number one rule of this podcast /podcast is there are no rules.
And that's the end. That's the whole list.
That's it. That's all.
Yes.
And you must bow down to your podcasting overlords. Grace and Alexis.
Yes, welcome. Again, you can never leave, as we said. So we're starting a new show today. Kind of a new show because an episode of this new show has recently been covered. You'll know what this show is if you look at the title of this episode. Our new show is Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget. Such a good show.
Alexis covered a holiday arc episode of Inspector Gadget for us just a month and change ago. So if you haven't listened to that, you can listen to it now. I folded into this arc.
And listen to it after this episode.
Oh, yeah. Don't go back and forth. That's too hard. So
I mean, listen to it because I did that episode and it's great. So
use that as the second episode of this Inspector Gadget arc, a bonus episode. So yes, we always in the first episode of the arc, I'll do the first episode of the show ever in the first season. And I do a background on the show to get us all familiar with it. And I will say Alexis did a really thorough and great job of introducing Inspector Gadget in our Christmas arc because we had never covered it before. So it was helpful to get that background, especially with the background and production of the show. Because yes, we are also TV nerds. And so to get into that kind of stuff.
Cartoon historians, amateur cartoon historians, if you would. Can we? Is that too bold?
I am. In fact,
perhaps
it's on our resume for sure now.
It is
somewhere.
Now.
Yes.
Good thing neither of us are applying for jobs anytime soon.
Exactly. Thank God. So yes, I will give another brief overview of the show and our main characters, as well as like a fun fact I found here at the end. So. Inspector Gadget is a sci-fi cartoon as described by Wikipedia. And it's really just that in the sense that Gadget is like a cyborg. Inspector Gadget, our main character, is like a cyborg bionic man. And it is a crime detective cartoon. And it follows our titular detective, Inspector Gadget, who works for, and I guess I didn't fully realize this, a secret like world police organization. Like, I guess I just thought he was like in the FBI or something, but no, it's like
police.
Yeah, not at all. It's like a secret world police organization. And they fight against their arch rival organization, MAD, which either means mean and dirty or malevolent agency of destruction, depending on, which one you feel like using.
The latter more.
Yes, it sounds much scarier.
Yeah.
Much more intimidating. Yeah. And it's run by Gadget's enemy, Dr. Claw. And yes, Gadget is also joined, and we're going to go through all the characters here on all of these crime-fighting capers with his 10-year-old niece and a dog named Brain. So, Gadget, again, our main character, is inexplicably a cyborg. He looks like a regular, if not goofy human, but beneath his detective fedora and trench coat lies like a bunch of like mechanics that not necessarily help him like solve the crimes, but more so help him avoid dying.
Yeah, avoid danger.
That's around crime that is happening.
Yes,
I would say. So his cyborg origins are never fully revealed, and it changes between the different sources within the canon of the show of how he became this. But essentially, there was some type of accident, and he was transformed into like a cyborg man to save him. And Gadget is, in one word, and this is why I said his gadgets weren't helping him solve crimes, but like not die around crimes. Because in one word, Inspector Gadget is bumbling.
Bumbling is the best word, yeah.
Yes. And more than wanting to know about how he became a cyborg, I gotta know how he became an inspector.
I have come up with so many theories. We are going to do a lot of wild speculation, Grace, during this arc. So I'm just gonna try to hold some of them.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit in your episode of like, is it because of his niece Penny, who like is a very good detective, but you just like can't hire a 10-year-old? But I think there's more than like, how did he?
Was that the last episode of our arc?
No, I think it's second to last.
Okay. Well, basically, ever since we've recorded that episode, I've been like thinking of like planning, like plotting, researching.
Okay, good.
Coming up with ideas.
Good. Okay. Well, I look forward to
bouncing them off of those around me.
Red string in your apartment. We just can't see it right now.
Yeah, it's right up here. Look forward. You can kind of see the board here.
Board. Well, I look forward to our investigation about our inspection of Inspector Gadget, if you will. So yes, he is bumbling. He is a horrible, really inspector for all intents and purposes. Like I said, he wears that tan hat and a trench coat. He's got like black pointy hair that sticks out from the hat and a big old nose. But despite his bumbling and just kind of always almost ruining investigations, he is good-hearted, and he has pardon me, both luck and a very smart niece on his side. So the investigations usually turn out. I also, again, in similarly thinking about this and reflecting on how he came to this position, I also wonder if the secret world police organization just like doesn't have HR, or like if you had to fire someone, you'd actually just have to kill them because they know too much. So like they just can't fire him because he is pretty bad at his job.
Yeah.
So TBD on that train of thought.
The whole mystery of how he got to where he is just like, oh, it was just an administrative error.
Yeah. And he just knew
HR
too much.
just doesn't know what to do with him.
He accidentally got too much security clearance and like read files he couldn't, and so they were like, I guess
we have to keep him around now.
We can't kill him because he's the guardian of this 10-year-old child, and we have like some type of ethics here.
And we made him indestructible.
Yeah, and we can't kill him is actually the problem. Not
have done that.
We can't kill him. No, we cannot.
No, we're
trying to get the technology to kill him. Yeah. We don't have it yet. That's why we're trying to steal it from MAD.
Yeah.
They have the good R&D. We need it to kill our own
And
inspector.
It's two birds, one stone. They send him in to do it. So it's like maybe they'll destroy him in the process, or he'll actually steal their secrets and we'll be able to do it. It's a win-win.
Either way, he's going to die somehow. So, yes.
And even that he still fucks up, as we will explore this arc and every
Let me tell you,
episode.
This man is a cat with 900 lives. If you will.
No, all he's got is one penny and one brain. Dog.
Exactly. And speaking of Penny, yes, this is his niece that I mentioned. She is a 10-year-old girl, and it seems like her guardian is Uncle Gadget, as she calls him. Yeah, we talked a little bit again in the holiday arc that maybe her parents died in an accident. That could have been also how he got turned into a cyborg in the same accident, and thus he's her guardian. We don't know. We'll continue speculating later on. But she's got blonde hair that she wears in pigtails, a pink top, green jeans, and she's essentially just like a small genius. She builds a lot of the tech to help investigate crimes. And she does this generally without Gadget knowing that she's kind of like the puppet master here in solving all these crimes. He is but her marionette in this process.
Penny the puppet master. Ew, don't make me think of marionettes. I know. But yeah.
That's our greatest enemy, not MAD, marionettes in this podcast.
Marionettes.
We hate them. So yes, she pretty much always solves the cases and steers Gadget in the right direction. She, for the good of the investigation, does put herself in danger a lot and usually has to call upon her good boy, Brain, a dog, to save her. And Brain is like a yellow beagle mix, perhaps, some type of mix.
Of sorts.
Which also, yes, beagle mix.
We love the beagles here.
Yes, exactly. And he has a red nose and is like yellow colored and works closely alongside Penny, who he can understand thanks to basically some tech she's hooked him up with, including like a video calling watch, earpieces, and more. I also, not in this episode, but in my next episode, which will be our third episode in this arc, I have some theories about Brain.
Me too.
We'll get to. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, great. Well, I look forward to this.
There's so much I want to say.
Maybe my episode will reinforce your Brain theories, perhaps. My third episode.
Yeah. No, that's good, because I'm kind of hoping that we can dive into a different theory each episode almost. So I'm hopefully beautiful. It works out where one day we talk about Penny, one day we talk about Brain. We'll figure it out somehow.
Yes. I think this episode
don't worry, dear audience. We will get through all the speculation.
An intro to everyone.
Primer.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Exactly, a primer. So yes, usually on all of these missions, investigations, Penny sends Brain in, who also so many times I accidentally wrote Brian while I was writing my script, just constantly. So if I accidentally
why are we
Brian,
like the same person? Although that's kind of common on frickin' Word or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yes, Brain loves a disguise, loves saving Penny, his bestie, and keeping Gadget alive, which he has to do constantly. And Brain doesn't really speak back, but Penny seems to be able to understand him. As you had described in your episode, he kind of mimics a la Courage the Cowardly Dog, noises and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And some additional characters we have are Chief Quimby, who gives Gadget his missions. He's got a big mustache. He's always smoking a pipe. He's always grumpy. And Dr. Claw, who is the head of MAD and is constantly trying to rob the world of its riches or to otherwise make conquests in different countries with a lot of crazy destructive tech. We never see Dr. Claw's face. We only see his gauntleted and very bejeweled, often, I must add.
A man of taste, a man of high class.
It's not wrong. He's pretty iced out.
Send me your jeweler. Yeah.
My jeweler is
Let me know.
the vaults that I break
that I rob. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so do they see clients? Is it by appointment only? How do I get in
I
there?
could use something.
Use a little freshen up.
Like he's got some rocks. It's nice.
Truly. And so, yes, Dr. Claw also has Mad Cat, who is just a chunky, also grumpy cat who we do see. He's mainly there for vibes and hissing most of the time. But even evil geniuses got to have a friend. They got to have company. And it is Claw's worldwide crimes that Gadget, aka Penny and Brain, are always thwarting. So my only fun fact to tell you is that, and I think I'm like, I should have gone back to listen to your intro. And I'm like, maybe you did say this, that the, in the 80s series specifically, because there are other iterations of Inspector Gadget that I think you did talk about in your intro. My, at least first 2 episodes, I think maybe my whole arc will just focus on the original series from the 80s, but there's multiple iterations. But
apparently one from just a few years ago too.
Yes, it's on Netflix.
I was like, what? Yeah. So there's that. I have to catch up on that, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And so in the 80s series, Gadget himself was voiced primarily by Don Adams, who is a longtime comedian and was Maxwell Smart in Get Smart. And I did a quick read of it. And I guess after Get Smart, he was like always trying not to be typecast as like the bumbling detective and like couldn't, and then ended up with
this.
Buddy.
Like, and so he just embraced it.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, you know what? A paycheck's a paycheck.
I can be so much more than this in Hollywood is most known now for only playing bumbling detectives. Yeah.
Which is like seems fun, so I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
So yeah, it works.
You can show some versatility with that.
Yeah. Kind of. But yes. So then my next fun fact is another voice acting fact, which I know you definitely already know this one, but I have a tag on fun fact to it, and also how I realized who this was fun fact. So we'll start at the top, which is Brain, Dr. Claw, and Mad Cat are all voiced by the one and only voice actor icon extraordinaire, Frank Welker, who you know from every childhood cartoon, mainly Fred Jones. He is still to this day Fred Jones. But here's the fun fact I found about Frank when I was like, because I was like, oh my God, it's him in this show. Like, what else, like, do I not know that he's done kind of thing? And here's my fun fact about him on the Wikipedia page, which is he is one of the most prolific voice actors, we kind of already knew that, ever, with over 860 pieces of media. And with that much media, he is the 4th highest grossing actor of all time, as of
all time.
Yes, but specifically
any type of actor, not just voice actor.
No, so this so I guess so the 2 lists, how they're split up, the stats are from like it's like a film industry data website called The Number, and there's one list of just actors, like period, but then there's a list that is actors including roles, cameos, and voice acting. And it's like, if you were any of, and like role being like you are a full actor, or you're seeing this face on screen.
Not just like one line or like a background. Yeah.
Yeah. So like you have a written role. And so that's why I specifically say this is like, this category that he is in is like, did Frank Welker do one line in an animated movie that like blew up? That counts towards his highest grossing numbers. Yeah. So it's like really all encompassing. But here is that list: Stan Lee.
Wow.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh.
John Ratzenberger, who I didn't know who that was, and I should have clicked it. I assume he must be another voice actor or something. Yeah. Because this also includes video games, I'm pretty sure. And then Frank Welker.
And then, wow, what a list of goats.
Yes, it is. It was so cool. Yeah. So anyways, that's linked in his Wikipedia page, and then you can go click out to that link to see the whole list and like how it's defined, because it's a really broad definition, which is how he hits that list.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Anyways. I mean, but like, even if it wasn't so broadly defined, I still wouldn't be that surprised.
Yes. Because it's, again,
or I guess maybe other way around. Even if it was more narrow, I guess I wouldn't be surprised, because he's in so much stuff.
Exactly. He provides like, even like crazy animal noises for movies, and then gets the credit for that, how Hyatt it was gross.
Exactly.
So
because it's like why. Still a character, even though they're not like speaking actual words or whatever, they're a character in the movie, and he's making the noises for that character.
So that counts towards his like final receipt here. So
what a legend.
Here's
we love you here. He's still he's the only one still alive. Sorry. Yeah.
And here's my fun fact about how I realized this, because I did not know that he was in this. When I started watching the episodes, I like to watch the first episode and then do all my little research, that I was watching the episode and I was like, of course, I was like, why does Dr. Claw's voice sound so familiar? But instead of like, I don't know, being like, oh, it sounds like a deeper version of Fred Jones or something like that, my brain, and I was like, wow, this is me just bragging. My brain was like,
go off, girl.
Why does he sound like the Cave of Wonders from Aladdin?
Oh, wow.
The deepest
now that you
ever.
say it.
And guess what? Of course, Frank Welker was.
Good recall there.
Thank you.
Good. Dude, brag on. Say it one more time about yourself. Of yourself.
I realized that, yes, I'm incredible. I can hear things. I am a genius.
Now that you say it.
Yes,
like watching this, I never
voice.
Really thought that. But now that you say it, I'm like, oh, that's 1,000%. Yeah, the exact same voice that he uses.
Not change the voice at all for it. And I love him for it.
He was like,
perfect.
Oh, this one worked. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
The kids love this one. Let's bring it back.
Yeah, it was a hit.
Because Aladdin came out after this, right? Was Aladdin in the 90s?
Yeah, I thought it was. But I can't say for sure. But yes. So yes, I was very proud of myself for that deep cut. And also, I guess then I learned that he was also the voice of Abu and Raja in Aladdin.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
He does it all.
Yeah, that I also didn't know. Raja, I could have guessed, but I did not know he was also Abu.
Yeah, little monkey noises.
He can do it all. He can go high, he can go low.
Exactly, yeah. Abu's just squeaking away. Cave of Wonders, very deep and, raspy voice.
Also, for those who are listening, drop a like, drop a comment on this video. Yes. Share it with Frank Welker, because also, if we could interview some of these people, like what a dream it would be. Or if they even just knew that we existed and that we loved their work.
And that we hear their connections between these two very niche things.
Yeah.
The Cave of Wonders and Dr. Claw. We respect their work and recognize them.
At how many years later, too. Amazing. Yeah. And I mean, Dr. Claw was from before we were even born. We're talking about a show that came out 10 years before Grace and I were born here. Yep. So... Right, this was 83.
Yep.
Right, I don't want to improperly age us. Yes, exactly. So,
yes.
Anyways,
yes.
Continue on.
Agreed.
My beat.
Yes, don't forget to subscribe, et cetera, et cetera. Tell a friend. We'll get to that later. Don't worry.
Exactly.
So let's jump in. That our intro is done here. My bragging is done here. Let's dive into season 1, episode 1 of Inspector Gadget. Technically, there was a pilot episode before this, but I was like, nah, I'm doing the official episode 1. And it is entitled Monster Lake. And it starts out at a beautiful lake, or loch, if you will, in Scotland.
Okay, yeah.
So we start out by seeing Gadget being, well, an idiot immediately.
Normal. Things are going normally.
Yes. Literally, I think his first line is that he's telling Penny that as they're driving by one of these lochs, aka big lakes in Scotland, that this is where they make Scotch tape.
Ugh. So close.
He's setting the
It's the important. PG version. They can't tell kids this is where they make scotch, so they have to say tape.
Scotch tape. Yes, exactly. And honestly, at 10, I would have been like, yes, this is where they make scotch tape. And I would not have been like, I didn't know what scotch was when I was 10. So yes, I would have been like, this is where they make it. This makes sense.
And that's the thing. Your parents are like, oh, she's so cute. She thinks that's where scotch tape comes from.
Oh, she's anyways. Stupid. Yes. So... They seem to be there just on vacation. They're always traveling the world. And Penny is excited to see all of the lakes. And she asks about lake monsters because she's heard about them. But Gadget, of course, waves off the comment. Gadget is no time for cryptozoology, no time for the paranormal. There's no such thing as monsters.
Come on, Gadget. You never know. You got to believe.
Our first strike against Gadget here.
Yeah. He's not a believer.
Not a believer. But well, in theory, he's immediately proven wrong. And I say in theory, I'll get to it in a second. But behind the car, we see this back of a gray figure arising from the lake. followed by we see a huge flipper, and we see a long, 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 thin neck stretch out from the water. And we see its head with green eyes. We see fangs. And it starts also breathing fire at the car.
Oh, that's new from what I thought. Yeah, okay. And go off, girl.
Here's the thing, because like it's simply so much more of the episode will make sense if I tell you from the jump, because we see it from the jump instead of me trying to hide it, which originally I was going to do. It's very clear that this is just a robot. Like,
okay.
We see immediately, like, this is like, the neck extends from like type of thing. Like, this is clearly a robot. And like, yeah, we viewers know it from the jump. But yes, of course, Penny and everyone else do not.
Don't. Wow. Okay. Yes. Another strike against those inspection skills. But alrighty.
Okay, well, here's the thing is that Penny is screaming for her life because her window, she's like rolling up her window as like flames burst on it. So she probably didn't really get to see it. And Brain, also screaming and trying to like scramble out of the car, jumps onto Gadget's head and is like covering his face. So Gadget doesn't even see the monster at all.
Okay. But Gadget they know that there's a monster there though, yeah.
Well, Gadget thinks that all the fire that their car is literally like driving out of is his engine malfunctioning and catching fire.
To do that. Yeah.
In an entire like blaze that engulfs your entire car into the road all around you. Yes.
He's got to get that checked.
You got to get that checked out. So, rightly, Gadget is like, I got to find the manual to this car. I got to solve this engine problem, which is the right move. But he doesn't stop driving while he does it. His foot's still on the pedal, which makes, and it's like a curvy, they're going around a lake. So his 10-year-old niece, Penny, has to grab the wheel and steer the car so they don't literally careen off into one of the lakes. And she does, but she's 10, so she swerves them off the road and right into a huge flock of sheep.
Oh, those poor sheep.
It's a soft landing.
They have no clue what's going on. Oh.
They definitely all just got wrecked.
Smushed. That whole village is having sheep for dinner for the next
There's some roasted
days.
Lamb, though, because this car is still on fire for sure.
They're going to have the nicest coats and clothes and the fullest bellies.
And the fullest bellies. Can't lose.
Yeah, thank you, Inspector Gadget, actually, for feeding the small town. Yeah,
exactly. But one of the sheep is pretty weird because there's smoke coming from it, but not because of Inspector Gadget running into it.
It's already roasting.
It's fresh. It's like above the pit. They're
the
just
rotisserie type thing. Yeah.
They're gonna get some Euro meat from it, make a good Euro. I forget what those are called.
Penny's already getting the pitas. Yeah,
exactly. But we see shortly as this smoking sheep approaches that it's smoking because the sheep is smoking a pipe and has a giant mustache because, of course, it's Chief Quimby dressed up as a sheep.
Okay.
Because the chief always is in some type of disguise to secretly give Gadget his mission. So here is the mission that Chief Quimby as a sheep, he like pulls down like the sheep hood and just has like the fuzzy like body for it.
And like still. A pipe is still in his mouth.
Always, nice. Of course.
Very committed, if you will, to the part.
Yes, to
the tobacco addiction.
That's part of the part.
Yeah.
So he tells Gadget that there is a professor in town who is there to research lake monsters. And they have credible reason to believe that Mad wants to kidnap the professor for whatever knowledge he has or discovers, I guess, about lake monsters. So Gadget's mission is to keep the professor safe. So, obviously, we learned this in our winter arc from you, that every mission that's written down on a piece of paper is set to self-destruct and always does it in Chief Quimby's face. And, of course, it happens here as well.
Yeah.
So Gadget drives off while
sheep fur catches on fire.
Exactly. Gadget drives off, leaving Chief Quimby just in an explosion
to burn. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. To like in the incendiary, just he's gone. So we see now that it wasn't just this herd of sheep overhearing this conversation. Mad, and more specifically, Dr. Claw and Mad Cat, were, of course, listening in too from their current hideout, which is their jet car vehicle thing that can like shapeshift. Yeah, and is currently a submarine submerged in the bottom of one of the locks. But they have like, I don't know, a radar, I guess, and a periscope, so they're checking out what's going on. They're keeping an eye on Gadget now that they know he's here, and know that he is going to try and protect the professor who they want to kidnap. So step one in battling Gadget here is a battle of wits. So I'm sure you can imagine who will win this first round.
I don't know.
It's a tight race.
If he's going up against a literal brick, then, I mean...
Then the brick might have a better chance of winning than Gadget.
Yeah, I know. Because, it could still be close.
Because a bad agent sneaks out onto the road and changes the direction of a road sign at a fork in a road, which could be, an excusable thing that you could accidentally get mixed up. But Gadget's car literally has a GPS telling him not to go that way, and Gadget goes that way, of course.
The GPS is like, make a legal U-turn ahead.
Yeah, it's like, it's just fully malfunctioning.
Okay,
and the car just flies off the side of a cliff.
For the second time today.
This engine is just not going. It's just on the fritz. Is this
good Lord
the manual somewhere? So yes, it just careens right off a cliff, right into the middle of a little Scottish town where there's like a little town festival happening, and people literally are screaming and running out of the way as this car crashes.
Oh no!
Into the middle of the square. And Gadget just continues on his way. He just
whoopsies, didn't mean to make that turn.
Yeah, beep beep, excuse me. And just
good Lord.
Yeah, he just gets back on the road.
Menace.
This guy,
he's like such a danger to society.
He has now killed some sheep, which is someone's livelihood. He has now probably killed some festival goers in this town. The reason why Gadget's always in a different country is because those countries, like intelligence agencies, like ban him from coming after all the destruction that he causes. Into there,
he can never stay in the same place.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor Penny.
I know.
Constantly moving around.
Yeah, she's definitely on the list too. She's blacklisted. So, yeah.
I mean, a lot of this is her fault too, let's be real.
I mean, yeah, again, she does it for the purity of the investigation, and Gadget is just existing.
An idiot.
He's just an idiot. Just an idiot. So, yes, they get back on the road, and they head to the lock where the professor was supposed to be setting up, or is setting up, his like mobile lab. And, that's where he's doing all his research. And of course, he is going to Loch Ness because, yes, he is here to study the Loch Ness Monster, baby.
Of course.
So, yes,
I was waiting. I was thinking that's who the metal monster. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like, this has to do with it.
They got to bring her up at some point. Where my girl Nessie here? Yeah.
So, yes, like you said at the beginning, so many of our episodes, we tie into other things that the episode gives a nod towards. This one's obviously pretty obvious, saying Loch Ness Monster. But, so because of my really long intro, I'm not going to get into like the entire deep ass lore of the Loch Ness Monster. But I am going to give you a quick overview, and then I'm just going to tell you some fun facts that I didn't know about. Cool. Or like just some fun things I found on the huge Wikipedia page for the Loch Ness Monster.
Why are the cryptid pages always the longest?
They're so big.
That's
how you know they're you have to believe to be into them, is because they're like, no, listen to this explanation. Believe me. Okay, look at this evidence. Versus
but there's always so much
like it's right here. What more do you need to know? This is a fact.
Like, here's the theory of relativity. One paragraph, that's what it means. It is like a fact. What we know is a fact.
Is lying, they add in extraneous details unnecessarily. Well, here we go.
Yeah. But there's also so much like reasonable doubt in the cryptid pages. Like, allegedly, it has been said by someone that maybe Bigfoot was sighted in this general region, perhaps one time.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah, we weren't there though, but someone maybe was. So, yes, the quick overview is Loch Ness Monster, aka Nessie, is a mythical creature in Scotland who inhabits the Loch Ness. So that's Loch Ness Monster is not her name, it is the name of a lake.
Yeah.
The lake is not named Ness. And essentially, she looks like a long-necked, water-based dinosaur. And so here are the couple things that I would like to share with everyone. So one, the infamous 1934 surgeon's photos. This is the photo that like really made the Loch Ness Monster part of like worldwide like
the like black phenomenon. And white one.
Exactly. It's like black and
super
white.
Grainy.
It's like kind of grainy. It's like the water and then like the shadowy figure where you can see nothing. You know, it was definitely a hoax, but here's my point about it, is that how did people not realize it? Because it was published in the Daily Mail. Come on, folks.
Dude, I did not know the Daily Mail existed all the way back then. They've been doing this for
since time immemorial,
for generations.
They were over Jesus getting crucified. They were writing about what his loincloth looked like. Caesar's getting stabbed. They're over there writing about
they took pictures of the Shroud of Turin. Like, he's gone. Look, this
Cleopatra's up there. They are writing about the latest fight between her and Mark Antony. Like, Daily Mail has been here. They're the real Illuminati.
Amazing.
Daily Mail.
And yet they're the ones who make up all the funny, like, crazy stories about them. That's their whole plan.
It's a fucking cover. It's a feint within a feint.
Allegedly, for the Daily Mail lawyers that we know are listening to this right now. What? Allegedly.
I got some things to write for them, allegedly.
Whoa. Yeah, dude. If you're hiring or if you need some contractors, some opinion poll or editors, I mean, you know.
I'll write whatever I feel comes into my mind in the moment. Why not? I got crazy ideas all the time. Be happy to. Allegedly.
Yeah, we fit right in. Allegedly. Yeah.
Allegedly. So,
crazy,
fun thing number 2.
That's so funny.
Yes, is that some people believe and have tied the Loch Ness Monster to being related to the Scottish folklore of Kelpies, which were originally these like horse-like creatures that were featured in folk tales too. And there's, throughout, of course, thousands of cultures, this happens, of like folk tales to warn children to keep away from bodies of water. So basically to like keep kids from drowning, aka not playing by the water. And like
there's a monster in there.
Exactly. Like around the world, it like takes 1,000 different forms, all this kind of stuff. So this was one of them, is that like maybe Kelpies were like served that purpose in folktales, and maybe
never heard of that. Cool.
Yeah, and maybe like the Kelpie, who originally was more of like a horse-like water creature, maybe it transformed into like the sightings around Ness. Around Nessie,
like a serpent type thing.
Yeah, because a lot of the Kelpie references did happen with it, like around like Loch Ness itself. It's like a popular loch for all of these beings. So then, one of our earliest reports ever of a monster, a full-on monster around Loch Ness, is from 7th century AD. And it was written by it's a biography, of an Irish monk named, because it's a Saint Columba, because we love our stories of saints on this show. That's another deep fact about us, is that if there's a saint involved, we're going to talk about it.
We're covering it.
We're covering them, baby. So I didn't go into why, like how he got into sainthood, that kind of thing. But in this biography, what this has to do with the Loch Ness Monster is that St. Columba was in Scotland, and he heard of a water beast that had attacked a man and like drowned him. And so the saint, I love this so much. The saint, instead of the saint being like, I will go face this monster, he sent like one of his posse, like one of his followers. He's like, why don't you go swim into the middle of this
He kept
lake?
It real.
I promise I'll protect you. Like, I don't know if he had sainthood yet or not, but he was like,
good point.
I can't get my hair wet. Do you see this spot? I can't possibly.
I just got my nails done.
They're still wet. I can't go out there, okay, honey? So, yes, he sent out one of his posse to basically go die.
Posse?
I assume saints rolled with,
They had to have some guards.
You can't choose me to prove me wrong.
I mean, when you're going around trying to evangelize people, like you probably should have some protectors around you.
Exactly.
Some people might not take that well.
Who you're willing to sacrifice instead of yourself, like this saint did here. But apparently, yes, of course, this monster emerged, and the saint made the sign of the cross and basically told the monster to beat it, and it worked.
Scram! Get out of here!
Get out of here!
Yeah.
Go on, get, you monster.
The power of Christ compels you.
The power of Christ compels you. Exactly. So, yes, I guess
like
that's...
the last saint we talked about on the show, I will just say pics or it didn't happen.
Or like the last saint we talked on this show. Look, St. Columba, maybe he had a big posse. Maybe some of them, they were into arts and crafts. They were into theater. Here's my theory.
Like a costume.
They made a giant monster costume. Yes. And St. Columba said, you'll see our other posse member kicking around. When you hear me scream far from the shore, the power of Christ compels you. That's your cue.
And then
duck
swim
down
away.
With your little fins, make the sign of the cross.
Yeah.
Swim away.
Wait, did he say that the monster also made the sign of the cross?
No, I'm saying this in my rewriting of this.
They couldn't get it though. Yeah, they're like, that's a little too hard, Columba.
Yes, because as we did in our last
or whatever his name was before sainthood.
Yeah, that all of these saints just like did the pre-work to make their show go off without a hitch. They were all theater kids. Honestly, full slay. It worked.
Yeah, it did.
Because here we are today,
to this day,
talking about it.
Yeah.
So who's a buffoon now?
We have a lot to learn from you.
Exactly. But there was also evidence that this creature's existence could have been referenced even earlier in the 6th century. In this case, though, in the earlier case in the 6th century, it was probably more related to like Irish myths rather than like Scottish Kelpies. So there's some mix and matching of the folklore here. So then Wikipedia has a list of hoaxes that were either like just very silly or were like actually successful around the Loch Ness Monster. And I wanted to share with you my favorite one, which was a successful one, because in 2004, a documentary team used special effects and they made an animatronic model of Nessie to convince the people that she was real, and they like put her in the lock and just like set it up. Like they had all kinds of like tomfoolery happen. Like at one point they accidentally sunk it to the bottom of the lake and like had to like either make a new one or get it or something like that. But during this time that like this fake animatronic Nessie was set up, there were 600 reported sightings of her because so many people like wanted to believe. Like they did a really good job is what I'm saying. Like they got at least 600 people who were like, I'm calling this shit in.
Wait, when did you say this was? What year?
2004.
Okay. That's a whole other level of like, we want people to believe so badly that we're going to stage it. You know, it's like, what do you think people aren't going to look into it? Like people aren't going to, I'm sure they controlled it to appear at certain times of day or whatever. Like it wasn't like,
I'm sure.
It was just standing there.
Yeah, no, they're definitely animatronics. So I think it could move.
I took it more so actually would scare me.
Yeah, I took it more so of them being like, how many people can we actually trick? And like at least 600 people were like, I saw the Loch Ness Monster.
So it was more of a prank.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. At first I thought that they were like zealots who were like, we believe in Nessie so much, we need other people to believe in her to the extent that we'll fake her.
I mean, sighting. I read a paragraph on Wikipedia, so that could have been the intent, but I took it how I wanted it, which was an elaborate
I want to believe it's the way you've described it and not the way I'm interpreting it, because that's just like a whole nother level of, that's something. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
A lot of time and money on someone's hands.
Exactly.
So, so those are my fun facts or things that I found about Nessie.
Love it.
Anyways, thank you.
Nice.
Gadget, Penny, and Brain, you're welcome, arrive at Loch Ness.
You're welcome.
2025, making things worse for everybody but me, baby. So, yes, they arrive at Loch Ness, but the professor and his lab are nowhere to be found, because while Gadget was crashing into a town and probably killing innocents, Mad was able to sneak in and kidnap the professor.
Ugh.
So now that this is like pretty serious, Gadget tells Penny and Brain to like go back to the hotel and stay safe. And Penny is like, why don't you stay safe and be careful?
Yeah, right. Like, I'm good.
Yeah,
you're the one who's driven us off of 2 cliffs today. I guess one of those was, oh no. Okay.
Right as Penny says this, Gadget is like, I'm always careful. That's why I'm such a good inspector. And then immediately crashes his car into a tree. Like, as he's saying this. But he is, unbothered about it as always and just drives off to search a different part of the lock. And so, of course, Penny is like, Brain, you got to go follow Gadget. He's obviously going to drown or some shit, get eaten by a monster. Yeah. So Brain puts on like a big old mustache and like, I got to say, Brain in this episode, all of he's got 2 different fits. Full slay both fits.
Okay.
Like, this first one that he doesn't wear for very long, I guess kind of 3 different looks, let's say. So the first one, yes, a big mustache, and then he wears like these, like very, very tiny, like 1960s sunglasses. He is giving beat poet in this moment.
Oh, like, let's go, Brain.
Yes, for no reason. Yeah, exactly.
Snaps
That's
Brain.
just what he wanted to wear in that moment.
Yeah, so, exactly. Like there was no assignment other than follow Gadget.
Had it on.
He was like, oh, now I can finally rock these shades. I've been wanting to wear these forever.
Finally. My future is so
that's
bright.
That's not the vibe of someone you would run into in Scotland. Like you're supposed to like dress the part, And he's like, oh, no. I'm more of an Andy Warhol type, not like
this is my I don't even know a Scottish artist. Don't ruin my character art, okay?
Yeah.
So while Penny tells Brain to go do that, she meanwhile will be low-key, this 10-year-old child, setting up her radar on the other side of the lock to see if she can locate the monster beneath. So basically, Penny is going monster hunting, which I respect. Yeah.
She like pulls out a crossbow. Wouldn't surprise me.
Call me Ishmael. Whatever the opening line is. Yeah. She's Ahab, I guess, in this situation, but whatever. Ahab, yeah. So, yes, which we reference
You're Ishmael
so much in this show. Anyways.
Oh, no, you are the whale. I am the whale. God. It's me.
No. It was me the whole time. So, she sets up a big old computer with like a satellite like attached to it and starts scanning the lake below for monsters. Gadget, meanwhile, his investigation, just as pronounced as Penny's. He's like, okay, if I were the professor, how would I be trying to see this lake monster? Like, I got to get in the mindset of this monster. How do I see the lake monster? I got to get a good viewpoint, a good vantage point for it. Yeah. Okay, so I gotta. He must have climbed a tree. He's just stuck in a tree somewhere.
Oh, God. It's got to be, no, it's not. I was going to say, it's got to be exhausting to be that dumb, but no, it's not because he's just like going through life.
The definition of ignorance is bliss. Like, he's the happiest. Penny has seen some shit. Penny, like, looks like a 10-year-old, but she has the eyes of like a 58-year-old of like an entire career in this industry and knowing that she has more to see still.
She's like retirement smoking those pipes right there with Chief Quimby, man.
Retirement can't come soon enough for Penny.
She's waiting.
So Gadget tries to climb a tree as well and immediately gets stuck. But luckily, a plucky...
that's for the best.
You just stay up there.
Stay there.
Bit, okay? You're fine. But luckily, a plucky Scotsman in a kilt with bagpipes walks over to get Gadget down. This plucky, cute little Scotsman, he's got like a red and black plaid kilt, which Alexis and I are very familiar with kilts, having to have worn
kilts.
4 years of a kilt at our Catholic all-girls school that we went to.
Yes.
Not skirts, a kilt. Thank you very much.
Kilt. There is a difference.
Exactly. And he's got a red sash on. He's got I should have looked up what like the little hat is called that like, I don't know, like it's kind of like with a little ball on top. Yes,
drop in the comments if you know. You're Scottish.
We sure as hell don't. Or
terms.
If you just Googled it for us. And yes, the big set of bagpipes. And
in a tree too. Wow.
Yellow ears. Well, no, he's walking up below.
Oh, sorry.
Gadget. Yeah, and he's got yellow floppy ears and a big red nose because of course, yes, this is Brain in a traditional stereotypical, exactly, very put together. He was back there pressing that kilt before he put it on. Looks great. He's got big old boots on as
tuning
well.
His bagpipe if you can tune one, I assume. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's got big boots on because he was hiking around, the highlands and that kind of stuff. And of course, Brain helps get Gadget down, but Gadget absolutely falls right on top of Brain, doesn't actually realize it's Brain, and essentially crushes him. But as Gadget is getting up, he notices some like weird feedback that's happening. He's got like little sonar, like satellite ears that he can form. And so he assumes that it's probably the professor's like equipment from the lab, like creating some type of weird feedback. So he's going to like listen to this feedback and like try and get closer to it. So he jumps in his car to like try and track it down and promptly drives directly into the lake itself.
Okay.
He needed some Kelpie folklore to teach children not to go near the lake by themselves.
I've got to investigate this myself.
Immediately.
This monster, actually? Yeah.
Yeah, and he like doesn't totally realize that he is in the lake for like a good 10 seconds and then is like, oh, I'm falling. My car is sinking into this lake and my car is filling currently with water right now. Yes, and Penny sees a shape of a monster meanwhile on her radar, followed by a car. So now she's like, oh shit, there was a monster. Oh shit, there's Gadget's car.
There's Uncle Gadget.
Also in the water. So she calls Brain frantically because he's like just getting up and like is a little dazed because he just got knocked out. And so she's like, Brain, you've got to figure out a way to get in that lake and like help get Gadget out of there. Like he's absolutely going to die in here. So I just want to point out that what Brain does here, this is his third look of the episode. So we've had the beat poet. We've had the traditional Scotsman, very stylish still. His final look, I was like, Brain goes punk. Like, he would never admit it because if you're punk, you can't say you're punk.
You can't say it. No.
This motherfucker rips off his sash, is shirtless now, just in a kilt, combat boots, and then for his like airbag to like go into the water, he takes his bagpipe and puts it over his head. So he basically has a skin tight like red mask on with like spikes, aka like the like pipes of the like bagpipe sticking out of it. He's like a combo of like a like drag like underground like ball kid, like a like rave kid, and or punk. Like choose your poison. He is both of them right now, and he looks
These
incredible.
Were his inspirations.
Yes, exactly. I was like, this is going to be like high fashion, like haute couture look next season, essentially.
High fashion rescue mission, if you will.
That's all Brain does.
That's Brain's whole vibe, for real.
Exactly. Anyways, I fucking loved it.
He does love getting into costume.
Exactly. And I was just like, this is everything. Yes, they're going to try and put him on the runway, and he's going to like not sell out to capitalism is the energy.
No, he'll be sitting in the front row giving like that kind of side eye as all of the models make their way down the runway. Like,
exactly. But all the photographers
I wore that last year.
Taking pictures of him in his latest look, not the girls on the runway. Girls and gals and thems on the runway. So anyways, underwater, Brain sees the monster and is like, oh, you know what? Fuck Gadget, I'm out of here. And just starts swimming as fast as he can away from the monster who is now trailing Brain. And Gadget sees these figures zip by, and so Gadget starts trailing them. And Brain is able to get out onto shore. He pops out right where Penny is and like scrambles up the closest tree. This is followed by Gadget's car, who crashes into where Penny is standing. So Penny literally has to tuck and roll out of the way.
Good Lord.
Absolutely wrecks her radar. And it is followed by the monster, who from the water is like sticking its neck out onto shore because it's so big and is like thrashing around, like ripping trees out by their roots, like absolutely decimating the shore. But Gadget like stumbles out of his car for a second and like sees the crushed radar equipment, because he doesn't know Penny does all this shit. He thinks this is the professor's equipment. So he's like I'm hot on the trail. So he hops right back into that car to go, I don't know, to a different side of the lock. And Penny is like, Brain, like,
go follow him.
Like, keep your eye on him. I'm going to rebuild my radar. And so
nonchalantly, like, I got to rebuild this for the 30th time this week.
Right. Yeah.
And also, I just can't get past the fact where, like, you said Gadget almost ran over her, right? Like,
yes. She
so
literally tucked and rolled out of there.
The worst guardian ever.
Like, right, someone call, like, what is it, CPS?
CPS, yeah.
Get them on here. Brain will be the witness.
Are people doing, like, wellness checks? Or people doing, like, visitation, like, type things to, like, check in on the status of this custodial relationship? Like, I mean, but it's a tough one, though, because he works for the police. So it's like, oh, we can't let this
That's probably why every time Brain calls CPS, being like, she almost died again, someone else in the organization is, like, cutting off the call.
Cover it up. Cover that shit up.
Exactly. So Gadget, Penny is rebuilding it. And I think Brain does stick with her because, like, he's got, like, little binoculars, I'm sure, something they can see Gadget. And Brain's like, I need a break here. I need to rest. I only packed 3 outfits. I can't. What am I supposed to? I only packed 2. I already repurposed 1 to go to a punk show. That's all I got after this. Yeah.
And I will not go without an outfit.
Glasgow after this to go to some underground punk scenes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I can't get this outfit dirtier. I gotta wear it later.
It's for a show later. Okay. So Gadget, meanwhile, pulls over on another side of the lock and to, like, kind of a beachy area that is absolutely trashed with debris and just other trash. And I guess he stopped to be a good citizen because he starts picking up all the trash and wandering to the beach to find a trash can, or, like, wandering the shore. And he does find one that he just kind of kicks open, but it's not one that you, like, put in, like, you know, like a little barrel that you just, like, pop it in. You, like, kick it open and it, like, opens almost like a garage perhaps, and he just hucks it in. And he doesn't realize that as soon as he hucked it in and, like, shut it again, that this garage trash door thing spit all of the trash back out onto the shore, because he also didn't see the fangs that were in this garage, like, contraption, or the bright green eyes, or the fact that, yes, this was the monster's mouth, and he just threw all the trash in there and then just, like, continued on his way. Like nothing.
So, and he just, like, keeps walking, and, like, trash is everywhere behind him.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And the monster's head is right there.
Yeah. Like, on the shore.
Yes, just laying on the shore. It was like taking a nap, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So we hear laughter as all this is happening, and we see down below in the sub, Dr. Claw is just having a grand old time seeing this happen and how stupid Gadget is. And I think this is where I was like, where is this voice from? This sounds like a cave of wonders, perhaps.
Wonders. So, a wonderful cave? Or no,
not quite.
A cave
wondrous?
Full of wonders.
No, yeah. Full.
Yeah.
Interesting. Of wonders, perhaps. So, yes.
Wikipedia, give me my answer.
Tell me. So, yes, Claw is just, having a grand old time. He is like, Dr. Claw can control the monster remotely from down there. And so he just, like, opens up the monster's mouth again, being like, Gadget's going to walk right into this. And lo and behold, Gadget turns around and is like, a cave, and walks right on into
it. Right into
the
not a cave of wonders
of this monster. And so, yes, the monster, like, sits up and basically just swallows him. So now, we've got a little, what's the biblical one where he gets swallowed by the whale?
It's not Noah. It's
no, that's
Jonah.
what I thought at first. Jonah, there it is, yes. Little Jonah and the whale situation here. So he gets swallowed immediately and tumbles down, basically like a tunnel, because it's
my nightmare.
All metal. It's Alexis isn't a whale. It's okay. The Joan
Oh, that's
Jonah
right.
situation, yes. But Nessie is not a
water
whale.
monster.
Yeah, you're
I know,
right.
but water monster.
It's only
Just as
2%
scary.
better. But think of you get to tell people that she's real. If you get
That's
swallowed
true.
by
If
her,
I
they'll
make it out
totally
alive.
believe
Yeah,
you
they will
too.
absolutely. I got swallowed by the Loch Ness monster.
You'll
Can
totally
you
keep your
imagine?
job, your friends,
Uh-huh.
your
Friends, my family.
stability.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah, so he gets swallowed down and basically like tumbles out into like essentially like a metal bunker, which is like the stomach of this creature, where he sees a spindly little man with a big white mustache who is tied up, and it is indeed the
Ooh.
professor.
Ah.
So again, this is how Gadget always just stumbles into like being correct, essentially, is
Mm-hmm.
literally stumbling into it. So yes,
And he still doesn't know he's correct either. He's just probably like, I must be getting
I
closer
hit
to
my
something.
head. No, luckily the
Yeah.
professor introduces himself. Gadget introduces himself and
Oh, good.
unties him
What
and
was the professor's name
explains.
again? Not
I
that
don't
it probably
remember.
really doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I just wrote
Okay.
down professor. I was like, I don't fucking know what this kid's
Does he
name
have on a
was.
lab coat of sorts?
No, that's why I didn't write down the names. I didn't believe that
Because
he
you're
was a
like, I don't even
professor.
think he is a
Yeah, I
professor.
think they kidnapped the
Yeah.
wrong person this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I guess, I mean, not necessarily a professor of science, which would dictate the lab coat. Just
Ah,
a normal professor, which, he can get away
okay.
with no lab
He could
coat.
be a
But he
professor
had a
of like,
lab. So, no, you're right. He needed a lab
oh,
coat. Maybe Dr. Claus stole
mm-hmm.
the lab coat when he
He
kidnapped
did.
him.
He was jealous.
You're
Yeah.
not a
He's like, I
professor
want this.
anymore.
Yeah.
So, yes, Gadget is like, I'll get us out of here. But the room has been now sealed off. Like the little hole that he tumbled out through is now sealed. But
Mm.
Gadget is like, no probs. Well, actually, first of all, I lolls real hard because they say out loud, like, I can't go out the way I came in. And I was like,
Uh,
are they gonna
that's
just get
funny.
pooped out? Like,
Yeah.
is this where the show is going?
Penny's gonna have to bring in a metal suppository.
Like, if so, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
Yeah.
no. Gadget is like, oh, I see the door that I came through, is sealed off. I have like a little laser beam finger. Let me just start shooting lasers left, right, and center in this all metal, mind you, room. Even like there's exposed
Underwater
pipes. Yes, there's exposed
room.
pipes in this room underwater. So yes, he starts shooting that laser finger off without a care. And
Using
those
his
lasers
noggin.
just start
Hmm.
ricocheting everywhere. Like holes are bursting
Wow.
through the like other parts of the walls, the floor. The professor is screaming for help. Like
No one could have predicted this.
certainly not this
How
professor
did
who
we get
thought he was
here?
being saved and instead is like,
Yeah.
he's like, is this the torture of Mad who kidnapped me? Like, is this part of
Oh no,
my
this is the
punishment?
final mad agent who's coming to
Who's
end the
mad? That's why
job.
they called that because their final boss is insane. So, yes, in all of this chaos, like I said, the floor beneath them like has holes in it now. And like beneath it, it's revealed to basically be like the engine room of this giant monster. So Gadget is
Hmm.
like, perfect. I'll just fuck with the engine and save, and it'll open up. I'll figure it out. The engine's right here. The professor is begging him not to do this. He literally says, why don't we
He's
just
like, I've seen
surrender?
your work.
He
Don't
literally
touch
says,
anything.
why don't we just surrender to Mad? It would be better than this.
Oh, that's not what a police inspector wants to hear.
Yeah,
All
like I'd
right.
rather go to the terrorists. Like, let me at them.
Exactly. Like, please let us please negotiate with terrorists in this
Yeah, whatever we got to do, I'm
situation.
in. So,
Mm,
yes,
mm, mm,
as you can
mm.
imagine, this obviously goes terribly as Gadget starts to fuck with it. The monster starts thrashing around everywhere, which means it's like flipping over and stuff, which means Gadget and the professor are like tumbling in basically this like dryer situation that's now happening. They're just like getting flown everywhere. More and more of this room is like falling apart. And of course, Gadget, in the chaos and breaking more things, finds the mainframe of this robot. And of course, immediately starts fucking with that as well. No questions asked, no thoughts given, just vibes. And it gets so much worse. Like now, the monster who previously had just been like thrashing around is now like uncontrollably like soaring through the water and like diving down and flying back up. So now they were just getting tumbled, and now they're like literally at one point the professor and Gadget are like hanging on to exposed pipes for like dear life as they like
oh my god
thrown
like
about everywhere.
Yeah,
exactly.
Also at this point, does Gadget still think it's a monster, or does he realize that it's like, oh boy,
Alexis, I'll put a pin in it. This is our first pin of the new year. Put a pin in it.
Oh,
okay?
Yay! The first of many, many more
of endless pins.
Yes.
So yes, put a little pin in that. Okay. Gotcha. So Penny up on shore, she doesn't need a radar to see that things have gone poorly.
Yeah.
This giant monster.
She's like splashing in the lake or in the loch and just like
careening through this
chaos.
Body of water. Yeah, like diving down, flying up, spinning over, like cannot stop. So she sees things are going bad. And below, Dr. Claw also sees that things have gone poorly because at this point, because Gadget fucked with the mainframe, he basically like severed the like remote control that Dr. Claw had over the monster. And so now Dr. Claw can't control the robot monster at all. And it starts even like the monster starts like crashing into where Dr. Claw is.
Oh shit.
So at this point, Dr. Claw's like,
deuces.
I'm out.
Like, yeah.
This professor's not worth it. I'll leave those two to their watery grave. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And also starts running from the monster in his little rocket submarine car thing. So at one point, as the monster speeds by Penny, she sees like that in its green eyes that there's actually a control room in there. So the remote control is not the only way to control this monster. Okay. So like a badass, she grabs Brain and they leap on top of the head of this uncontrolled monster because they had seen like a small hatch, you know, like on a submarine, like those little hatches on there. And so like as this thing is like whipping around, like Brain is like holding on to like one of the ears for dear life, Penny, like a fucking badass, rips open the hatch and like jumps into the control room and is basically like able to pull the like emergency brakes.
Penny actually is like a world champion bull rider. Or she just like collects all these random like side quest mission
exactly.
badges,
When they were in
whatever.
Spain one time, she did like...
She's like, oh yeah, I won a bull riding competition.
Yeah,
it was
like
easy.
marching with the bulls. They were like in Texas once. She learned how to ride them. Like she's familiar. This is
exactly.
And so as she hits the emergency brakes, the robot monster slams into the shore and like in this process, like basically like opens up its mouth. And Gadget and the professor are able to, now that like the neck is flat out onto the shore, like walk out the tunnel.
Just walk on out like, oh wow, that was what an ordeal.
What a day.
Crazy.
Well, and I say walk out lightly because Gadget is walking out carrying the limp professor's body in his arms because the professor is passed out, like full concussed, passed out, hopefully alive.
Oh, we hope. That's the minimum.
We hope. And
broken bones will heal, but you know.
Yeah, but this trauma will not.
Will not.
So yes, as they emerge, Chief Quimby is there waiting for him. And two things happen in this moment, which is one, the professor wakes up and sees that he's being carried by Gadget and screams and runs away.
Get me away from this monster.
This is the actual monster. He's like, where'd Mad go? Pick me up. Pick me up.
Please.
I'm still here.
Take me with you, Dr. Claw.
Yeah, I'm out. And Alexis, let's unpin what you said, which is because at this point, Gadget finally looks up and for the first time this entire episode sees that there is a monster, one, and two, sees that he was in the monster. And also screams and runs away. And that's the end of the episode. What did he think he was in? A submarine? What did he think he was in that whole time? No, he walked into a cave. And then the rest was just crazy.
Why were
there mechanics in a cave? He doesn't know entirely. But I guess it was a mechanical cave. Yeah, so... that's the end of this episode. That's what happened here.
Somehow it's got to be exhausting to be.
It really must
dumb.
be.
I mean,
it just makes life so much harder. You're constantly crashing your car. You're his insurance. That definitely
gotta be crazy.
Like agency runs Metro, is through the fucking roof. You know
exactly. It's crazy. I love the show, but he is almost too much to bear. As I don't know how he's
still alive. Yes.
Yeah. It's like there's a certain point. It's like you love the dumb bumbling character, but at a certain point, it's like, guys, come on. Can he have one lucid moment, please?
One. Yes.
Just one. There's literally it's 2 seasons of this.
Yeah, we'll have to see throughout our arc. Do we ever get we'll if we remember, which we usually don't, we'll circle back up on this in our last episode to see if we ever got a lucid moment from him.
So far, no, there hasn't been one, but maybe we'll see.
We still got 7
it's not looking promising for next week's episode either.
Things aren't looking promising for our heroes.
Yeah, and Dr. Claw is 1 for 0. I guess here he got away. 1 win, 0 losses. I guess his monster was destroyed, but hey, he's still alive, so who cares?
Exactly. So yes, between now and next week, Alexis, who should our lovely listeners and viewers tell about this show so more people can come join us?
I think this week they've got to tell a bagpipe player.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't think we've done that. I feel like even though we've talked about bagpipes on here, so I don't know what the official term is. A bagpiper? A bagpipe?
Yeah, bagpiper.
Okay, yeah. Tell them.
Makes sense. Great, nice.
Who should they tell?
I think you should tell a punk after this episode. Yeah, your most punk friend. If you don't have any, a friend who listens to punk-esque music. And if not, I don't know, find one somewhere.
Tell them like, hey, this podcast I listened to said to tell my punk friend, and then they'll scoff at you like, I'm not punk.
And you'll be like, this is how I know you should listen to this episode.
You should listen to this podcast.
This is for you. Nice. Perfect. Well,
awesome.
We'll see y'all next week then.
Until then.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.